Hey everyone, I just wanted to give special thanks to Cauterize for letting us use this intro to our podcast. Um, you can give them a follow on Facebook at Cauterized CT. You can go to their Bandcamp at cauterizedct.bandcamp.com or hit 'em up on Instagram as well, Cauterized CT HC. Hello again in People Podcast Land. This is Richie and
That would be, my name is Sean. Wow, I sound like I just hit puberty. Sorry about that. This is Sean.
oh yeah, I know. But by the way, yeah. So it's episode 2.
The officially rechristened Fiend Cave podcast.
Yes. No longer Geek Cave, now Fiend Cave. We hope. After we thought it was such a bright idea to maybe call it Geek Cave, it's like, self-explanatory.
There's at least 2 other podcasts that we saw that were called Geek Cave, so don't want to, steal their thunder. Didn't even, maybe I should actually listen to one of them, but whatever.
Well, we should have maybe done our research and we didn't. So
yeah.
It's their fault actually.
Yeah, it's their fault.
It's totally not ours. It's theirs. But
yeah.
So we thought, well, let's try Fiend Cave, because we're both big Misfits fan and we're in still a cave, so. Gonna try this one for size. So
what's also funny is actually the first book I ever officially finished writing was actually called Fiend Club. I renamed it Fiends, but that kind of is very close to my heart. So
there you go. So we're
fits perfectly.
Yeah, both fans.
So basically, it's perfect. So this week, we got a little bit of feedback from you guys. So there were some people that actually listened. So we're going to try to tone it down just in length because we went for 2 hours and 39 minutes last time. And I can vouch, re-listening to it myself, that took most of my Saturday night last to listen to all of it. So I don't want to make anybody get bored hearing our voices. So we're going to try to tone it down a little this week.
Right, and me editing it 15 billion times, and it still, was kind of, for a first episode, it was still kind of wonky, but... I was just tired of listening to it after 2.5 hours. So.
Exactly.
So we're gonna crop it down quite a bit.
Yeah, we're actually going to do this time, rather than doing 2 top 10 lists, and going long elaboration on each one. We're gonna do 2 5 lists, so it's gonna come out to 110.
Yeah.
1 top 10 list, but spaced between 2 subjects, so it's gonna be a little bit shorter and. Basically, we're just going to keep doing these until we run out of ideas, which is probably never. And, hopefully have some
ideas.
Yeah, have some special guests come in and give their lists, hopefully soon. But
yeah, we hope to have maybe next couple episodes or something, have some guests on and stuff, and that'll be awesome because they're geek friends of ours.
Absolutely.
And geek out of course about some topics.
The great thing about nerd culture these days is that you don't have to hide what you're into anymore because nerds are mainstream again, and raise your freak flag, fly it proudly. So that's what we encourage you to do here at the Fiend Cave podcast. I'm going to keep saying that until it just, pounds into my head and it's like second nature to just,
just call it
say
that.
It over and over. Yeah.
At the Fiend Cave. But, dude, when we were kids growing up, it was not okay to be a mainstream geek.
Dude, I was definitely afraid that Ogre and the rest of the the college jocks from Revenge of the Nerds were gonna come and beat my ass every week.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Just because I had a Wolverine T-shirt I wore in junior high. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I mean my comic book shirts, and and then even getting picked on for some of my music shirts or whatever.
Yeah, but what we're saying is nowadays, we're not shunned for what we're into, and what we're into is nerdy stuff, and that's awesome.
And it's awesome that it's big again. It really is, because it's bigger than ever, and you can find all kinds of nerdy stuff everywhere. And
absolutely, and I think that's a good segue to get into our lists here. We're gonna do, like I said, a little different from last week. We're gonna do top fives instead of top tens, and going along with nerd culture. You can't really have any of our great movies, comics, stories without
video games.
Yeah, video games without heroes and villains. So this week we're going to do the top 5 best heroes in our opinion, and top 5 best villains. I don't know which one you want to do first, though.
Well, let's do. Oh God, it's so hard. It's so hard because
let's do villains first.
Let's do villains just because everybody loves villains.
Everybody loves villains,
and easy to love a villain.
Again, it's something personally I've been into lately. Is like I want to focus more on the positive. So let's do the bad first and end it on the good.
Oh, okay. Sounds good, man.
That's what I mean.
Good.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
do you want to start with you this time around?
Yeah. Okay. So this time we'll start with me. We're doing top 5s. We start at number 5. We'll work our way up to the top. We go back and forth between the two of us. We'll make a little commentary on it.
Hell yeah.
Both of us know all of these characters, so hopefully you guys at home do as well. And if you don't, do some research. That's what the internet's for.
Yeah, go Google it, and do yourself a favor and, get in touch with them,
This is, in my opinion, the top number 5 greatest villain of all time is Anton Arcane from the Swamp Thing comics, Swamp Thing media in general. Basically, I just picked him. I'm going more from the comics. Most importantly, Alan Moore's Saga of Swamp Thing stories from the late 80s, early 90s. Anton Arcane, if you're not familiar, any media you see a Swamp Thing, Anton Arcane is this evil scientist that's trying to find the Swamp Thing and, get some of his DNA, get him into his lab and kind of mess with him and learn what makes him tick so he can, exploit him. And basically through the process of their back and forth, he has turned himself into a monster himself and goes to no limits whatsoever to get what he needs. In the classic Saga of the Swamp Thing stories, he goes so far as to his niece Abby. He takes over his niece's fiance's body and mentally and physically just screws her up until she basically dies just to get back at Swamp Thing because he secretly loves her.
Crazy stuff. And those old stories were, those old comics were so good with, Alan Moore and all that.
Yeah, Stephen Bissett, I believe, was doing the art. It's the stuff of nightmares.
It's classic stuff. Yeah, I mean, comics and horror. Going with horror is so good.
Absolutely. If you've not read any of that, I highly recommend picking up the trades.
Go get the graphic novels. As you would call them, trade paperbacks.
Trade paperback graphic novel. Either way, yeah, it's good stuff. In the movies, I believe it was. I can't remember the guy's name. He just died a few years back. I think it was like Louis Jourdan played Arcane in both Swamp Thing and Return of Swamp Thing.
Right.
He was pretty good, but not nearly as fiendish as the comics.
In the comic books, but still pretty good. But yeah, it was sad,
Yeah.
It was sad, but yeah, absolutely. So yeah, good read, and I need to go back myself and read more of it because you actually let me borrow one of the trade paperbacks and.
Say the word, you can borrow them again.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can do that.
But yeah, absolutely. But yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Classic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Can't go wrong with it.
All right.
So my number 5 in villains is and I don't necessarily I consider this thing or things a villain, but yet maybe a hero also. It can be either or. But we'll call him a villain just because of how they started out, and that is Fighting Arnold. And I'm going to go with the Predators.
The
Predators, because
They can go either way.
They can go either way, exactly.
Typically, they're the antagonists. So, yeah, I think they count, definitely.
Yeah.
There's been some interesting stories where they've been kind of more of the hero.
Yeah.
The Alien versus Predator comics and the movies.
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of like allies.
They can't, as far as fighting the xenomorphs, the aliens,
Yeah.
they can be, the good guys.
But yeah, I mean, going back to the essence of, like, at least the first two movies, talk about, like, the concept of the baddest of the bad military teams, or, like, a police force in the case of Predator 2, being wiped out by, like, this hunter until, like, the last man standing.
And they really are sort of kind of an intergalactic alien samurai, which is kind of what their race is. They're kind of all,
Yeah,
which constantly trains to be better fighters, essentially better killers. So
and they have a code of honor. I like that.
They do, and that's why I consider them also a hero.
They technically won't kill if you don't have a weapon, or if you have a child, or you are a child.
Right.
I always thought that was kind of cool. Even though as a little kid, I still thought they would kill me for no reason, just because it was scary.
They would just be camouflaged in the trees or something.
I swore, because I lived in the woods as a kid, I swore I was going to see the 3 red dots, like, flash up from, like, a tree, and I just crap my pants and die.
Yeah, come after you. So, but yeah, definitely. But that's number 5.
That's a great way to start a list off.
Yeah.
All right, my number 4. I'm going into a genre. I think you've seen it. You know who the character is. You've probably watched at least the original Star Wars trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
Number 4 is the Emperor Palpatine.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
God, he used to scare me to death as a kid. I mean, he's just a creepy old guy in a black cloak with just a scary yellow eyes, white face.
White. Yeah, the eyes, man. The eyes are what are so like terrifying.
Yeah. Well, and I originally had Darth Vader on the list, and yeah, Vader's a great villain, but I always thought the Emperor was just pure evil. He's the one that manipulates him, dude.
Yeah, definitely. The Emperor was more with Darth. You had where he essentially there was that good at one time,
Absolutely.
And the Emperor, he's just batshit,
Well, and granted,
crazy.
Yeah, the prequels, they show that he was like a senator or something, but he was always evil.
He was always a bad guy.
I like at least that point. Like, say what you will about the prequels, but at least they didn't try to give him like a backstory where he was a good guy. No, he was just evil.
He was just a bad guy.
Bad dude. Like, I just even as a kid, I was just creeped out because it's just this creepy old man. You think, he's just a decrepit old guy, and then he starts shooting lightning at Luke at the end. You're just like,
yeah,
dude, he could hit me with a lightning bolt.
Yeah, and in the movies, he didn't have to do much either. He had that power and.
Well, and he's got an entire galactic army behind him.
Yeah, that helps too.
The line in Return of the Jedi always got me as a kid. It's like, I'm afraid the deflector shield is not quite operational. Just, creepy and awesome.
Yeah, creepy and awesome. And I want to go back and watch those sometime soon because it's been many years and I watched the crap out of them, the original, I call the original 3 when I was a kid.
The original 3 are great. The new Force Awakens is great if you like the originals because it's
Force
the
Awakens
original
was good.
crew.
Yeah. I did really like that one. Yeah.
Rogue One's really fun because it's.
I heard
it's a prequel.
It got really good reviews. And stuff. So
it takes place right before the first Star Wars happens.
Okay.
It's really good. You dig it.
Yeah. I had to check it out. But yeah.
So totally, Emperor at number 4.
Yeah, and one last thing with him. Actually, the Funko Pop that they made of him. I don't know if you saw what they did the 3-pack of him, and I can't remember if they were stormtroopers in the 3-pack.
Oh, it's probably the Imperial Guard, the red dudes.
Okay.
And the red.
Yeah,
cloaks.
it might have been, but anyway, the pop looks really awesome. So
does he have the lightning?
He does not, but it's spot on. As soon as you see it, that's him. So it's like, oh crap!
I solve all my problems with lightning.
I really gotta go to the bathroom.
Yeah, thank you, Seth Green and Robot Chicken for that. That helped out with my fears of him as a small child. That was great.
No, that helps out a lot. So, right on. All right, so I'm gonna go. All right, my number 4 in our top 5 villains. My number 4. This was hard where to put him at on the list because, let's face it. In my opinion, he's top 5.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go with the Joker because the Joker is a badass villain. no matter how you portray him, whether it's in the comics, the cartoon, or the movies.
Yeah.
You know, and whatever form he's crazy and and dark and.
Well, we can elaborate on this subject a little more because that's actually my number one. So we can go back and forth. Yeah, I totally agree with you. The whole thing that is great about the Joker as a villain is that it was Grant Morrison, actually. I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but Grant Morrison actually brought in the subject in Arkham Asylum, the graphic novel back in, I think, 86, 87.
Yeah.
He made up the concept that the Joker doesn't necessarily... He has an expanding mindset where he might be kind of like the 66... haha, I'm going to kill you with some weird elaborate joke thing.
Right.
He can be that 1 week.
Mm-hmm.
And then his insanity works in such a way that he will suddenly flip his lid and suddenly he's like Heath Ledger Joker from Dark Knight. He constantly is changing his mindset. So
would it be like a split personality?
It's not so much a little bit like that. It's just he's in flux.
Okay.
So he'll be a certain way for a while. Something traumatic might happen to him, and suddenly he's still the Joker, but it's just there's a little bit different about him.
That's cool.
And it's fascinating. Oh, yeah. He's a scary character. I mean, there's been different incarnations of him in various ways, and
sorry.
No, go ahead.
But and he's still a very popular character.
Absolutely.
Batman is still one of the best-selling comic books of all time. Whether whatever Batman, but he's still
absolutely
the returning villain,
mm-hmm.
and he's still you look at toys and everything, and he's still so popular. People still love him.
He's
all these years later.
He's the epitome of evil too.
Yeah.
What I love is there was a time when the Joker was just a character they popped up when they wanted to make some sales.
Sure.
But now what's really cool, especially in the Batman comics, is when the Joker shows up, it's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
It's a storyline that's going to last for a while. He shows up, everything changes. I mean, he's killed a Robin, he paralyzed Barbara Gordon.
Yeah, he's all sorts of stuff like that.
He killed Commissioner Gordon's wife, if you remember that. He's a scary character, and he's the epitome. A kid puts on some face paint, red lipstick, and green hair, you know who it is.
Exactly. It's an iconic character,
Absolutely.
Halloween comes around, and you always see somebody.
Somebody's doing the Joker.
doing as the Joker.
Granted, it's usually a Heath Ledger Joker or something,
right.
You see some incarnation of the Joker, and he's an integral villain. He's just the worst.
He's going to be one of those ones that just he's going to stand the test of time.
Absolutely.
20 years from now, he's still going to, people are still going to be collecting, him and, going as him and loving the plots and all that.
He's unpredictable. He's scary because he kills you with something you should be happy about.
Right.
Humor, laughing.
Right.
But his laughter is not a good thing,
Right.
He makes you die from laughing.
Right. Right.
He's scary, but he's also smart, but he's also insane. It's just he's the epitome of evil. It's great.
So good. Like I said, if we're talking comics or cartoons or movies or even video games,
Sure.
It's so good.
Another thing that's great about him is there's so many incarnations of the Joker. You could be into different incarnations. Certain people, again, Heath Ledger Joker is pretty iconic, but, personally, that's not my Joker. My Joker is Mark Hamill doing the voice.
I was going to say, I love the Mark Hamill Joker, him, and if people don't know what we're talking about, it's from the 90s animated series
mm-hmm.
where Mark Hamill, that played Luke Skywalker, did the voice of him.
Right.
And he did an amazing voice, and as a kid, I had no idea. And, you get a little older, and you're like, oh my god.
Well, and he also did the Joker in all of the Arkham games. Well, the 3 main Arkham games.
Oh, he did? Okay.
He plays the Joker, and he plays it to a T.
Yeah, when he's doing interviews and he gets, he's talking, and then he gets that voice going, it's just like, you get goosebumps. It's so awesome.
Yeah. The Joker is definitely my number one. You're what, number 3?
Yeah, it was number 4, actually.
Number 4.
But like I said, it was hard to pinpoint him a spot on the list.
Absolutely.
Because he's so iconic,
As long as he made your list, I'm okay with
that. Yeah, absolutely.
So.
All right, so let's jump back over to you.
Okay. My number 3 is not This not so much a particular character as much as it's a set of characters.
Okay.
And my number 3 are the Deadites from the Evil Dead series.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And basically, I was thinking about it, and I was just, I almost said like The Thing, but that's kind of like based in like one universe, like out in the middle of the Arctic.
Right.
The thing about the Deadites, like through the course of the Evil Dead movies, and of course Ash versus the Evil Dead, is that anybody can be a Deadite. They can possess.
They can possess anybody. Yeah.
Anyone you know and love, they can take them over, and just the idea that somebody that you love and care about, they can wear them like like a suit and just screw with your head, and they do it a lot.
They do, yeah, all the time in the movies and in the show as well. The Evil Dead show. So
I mean, for being a horror series that can be really funny and goofy, it's a scary concept.
It still is, and they do a great job on creating them. Bringing them to life. And stuff, so
the remake of Evil Dead did an amazing job.
Oh yeah.
It's not really a funny movie, and I think that's why it
serious,
didn't do as well as everybody expected. But I really liked it because
really enjoyed it. We went to the theater and actually saw that together.
It was scary again,
and we really liked it, which I was surprised. I was and you were pretty much the same, if I remember correctly. We went in and were like, our hopes are high, but let's see how it goes.
Yeah, that's definitely one of those we were talking last time about, remakes. That's a good remake.
It is. They did a very good job with it. So gory, and like I said, the Deadites are just on point.
Well, and they were smart. They were like, this is Evil Dead, but we can't put in somebody new as Ash, Bruce Campbell as Ash, so we're going to do a complete different group of people.
Right.
But also by kind of having him show up at the end and like a little nod, they went, oh yeah, so this is shared universe. That's why that worked.
That did.
Hey, Ghostbusters creators, keep that one in mind when you want to redo the series.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, hopefully, if they make a sequel or remake it again, they do a little, get it a little more right. So.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's a whole other topic. But,
so Deadites.
Yeah, right on that.
Badass.
Good choice. Okay, my number 3 on top 5 villains. And like I said, I wasn't sure where to put him on the list, as number 3, but I'm just gonna go with Jason. Again, very iconic. Everybody knows who Jason is. Whether
Jason Voorhees.
If you've seen the movies or just seen the Hockey Mask, or just know of him.
He's iconic, and he's scary. Just because you can't reason with them. Those are the scariest monsters to me. Are the ones that you can't go, hey, I'll give you like my girlfriend if you let me live,
right, or money, or whatever you want.
I'll give you my lunch money if you let me go. No, Jason doesn't
no
care.
Talking. Just always having the right guy to play him too. Always just a big dude, and like I said, you don't have to do much, but he's an icon.
Absolutely, and for what it's worth, some of the movies are a little cheesy. They don't stand up, but they're fun. And Jason, the idea is a scary idea. There's nothing really that we know of that can really put him down permanently. He just keeps coming back.
No, even with the Freddy versus Jason film, the end. Look how
Oh yeah.
Look how the movie.
Well, he did technically take out Freddy Krueger.
No.
Well, Freddy's head was still
there
and
all that. Yeah. So.
I mean, headless body versus completely alive and carrying headless body sounds like a win to me.
Yeah, he's been killed several times, brought back as as zombies. Every
time I think of Jason,
Cyborg.
Yeah. Jason
and been in hell. Yeah.
Every time I think of Jason, I just think of is in Monster Squad. At one point, they're talking about Groundhog Day, which is basically Friday the 13th, and his father at one point is like, "These movies are so silly. If they." If they chopped him up and put all the pieces in the blender and sent him to 4 different states, he'd still come back. And the kid goes, "Yeah, that was part 7."
He'd still come back from the grave.
Yeah,
that was part 7. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
That's Jason to a T.
Yeah, and the spoofs that everybody does on him, like it's a Halloween costume still to this day and all that. the toys, and everything.
Absolutely. It's
So,
iconic. We
he's
have that video game coming out this year. It looks kind of
Oh,
cool.
I need to do my research on that and see if it's already out or whatever. But
I don't know.
so
It's
much
just
fun.
it looks really fun. I wish it was coming out on consoles, but
Oh God, I think it is actually. I think it is coming out on consoles. Like I said, I'll have to do my homework, but yeah, it looks like a lot of fun. But
yeah,
anyway, yeah, that was my number 3.
that's a
So
great
back to
number
you.
3.
Yeah.
So my number 2, this is going to end me because my number 1 was the Joker. My number 2 is actually one that's kind of near and dear to me. Is Bane from Batman. Like any incarnation. I love Bane just because when he was first introduced, he was introduced as the man that broke the bat.
He literally broke his back.
Yeah, he broke his back. Now, granted, everybody like focuses on that because he's he's drug induced steroid basically like superhuman. But the whole thing that they forget about that storyline was that he spent a week purposely pushing Batman to his limits by sending villains out, breaking all of the inmates out of Arkham, just basically whittling down his mentality and his strength by, he didn't sleep for a week just trying to keep up.
Right.
And then, just shows up at Wayne Manor because, he was that smart. He figured out who he was.
Right.
Shows up at Wayne Manor, beats the piss out of him, and then breaks his back. And is like, I broke the bat.
Yeah. I mentally broke you, and now I physically will break you. Yeah.
And and he's come back since then. He's the equal to Batman, both mentally and physically, as opposed to like the Joker is like the opposite of Batman.
Right.
Whereas Bane could very easily have been Batman under the right terms.
Right.
He breaks his habit of venom so that he can be more on the level with Batman. He works he basically works his body so he's at the same level, but he's just human.
Right.
And that's a cool villain. That's a cool concept that like he basically does everything in his power to be the best person he can, but not a good guy like Batman.
Yeah, just like on the opposite end.
He wants to rule, basically. He wants to be a king. Is his whole concept.
And my Bane is a totally badass character, and of course in the comics and cartoon, going back to the animated series, they made him a little different.
Yeah, he was a bit different.
Because they couldn't really get away with some of the stuff that he could do. For instance, breaking his back, they couldn't do that back in the day.
Yeah, it's a hard character to kind of like get into a kid's TV show or something.
As dark as that was, it was still.
Right, and the other problem with that character is it's very easy to just kind of focus on, okay, so he's like a steroided out like muscle man.
Right.
And, just focus on that, and you don't I don't really even care about that. It's more the fact that he's this meticulous, mastermind that has built both his body and his mind to, do evil. That's intense.
What did you think of the way that they did him in the last movie?
Oh, Dark Knight Rises.
Yes. What did you think about that?
I liked it. Because he was more intelligent than, say, like Batman and Robin, where he was just a muscle freak.
Oh, yeah.
Granted, they didn't really go into any of the Venom, so that was kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like the idea that he was just kind of like a puppet to Talia. That part, I was just like, yeah, Bane might, I could see him doing that, but I always pictured he would like turn the tables, like I knew that all along. I did I love Tom Hardy's voice in it because he went, everybody expecting, he's like, well, wait a minute, isn't he like Hispanic? He's from Santa Prisca, so isn't he like Mexican or something? I was like, yeah, but it's cool that Tom Hardy was like, well, I'm not Mexican, so I'm just going to use a British voice. And it's so iconic, and it cracks me up.
It did, and it worked. It worked.
It did work.
And people quote it all the time.
Sure.
Like
it's
we
so
do,
fun. So. Like, all you got to do is put your hand over your mouth and, like, speak in a British accent. And suddenly,
exactly.
I love it. I love it. It's hilarious, but it's not my end-all, be-all of Bane.
Bane. They portrayed him pretty well, but... Not as well as the comics per se, but it was still decent. Yeah.
Yeah. There's always that slim chance that we'll see like a more comic centric Bane and like maybe the new DCs. the Batman solo movie. It'd be even cool if he just showed up for a split second or they mention him in some way.
That would be awesome. We can only hope.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, absolutely. I'd love to see it.
Yeah, another one easier than getting into a bunch of comics if you play video games. Batman Arkham Origins, which is a prequel to the Arkham games. A lot of people didn't like it, but the story is amazing, and the main villain is Bane, basically.
Oh yeah.
And he's that meticulous, like, smart guy that's outthinking Batman through it, and it's pretty well made. I recommend it for that.
Oh yeah, right.
So yeah, Bane at my number 2 and Joker at my number 1. So I'll let Richie.
That's awesome. He's a great character to put on the list.
Sure.
So that's awesome.
So
right away. All right. So my number 2 on top 5 villains is since we went with Jason, we're gonna go with Freddy. So again, very iconic. Not even if it's his face, but it's the dirty, it's the dirty hat, and it's the red and green sweater.
Right.
It's the dirty red and green sweater. And
I was actually reading an article about Freddy Krueger and the fact that color of his sweater, like the greenish brown and the red, that checkered pattern is actually, it's like a psychological thing with the human mind. You see that pattern, and it's not. It was before, obviously, they did Nightmare on Elm Street, but you see that pattern in your mind, and mentally, it's supposed to make you feel uneasy.
Huh.
So that's kind of fascinating.
Yeah. Huh. That's crazy. Yeah, he's a iconic character. He's going to be one that lasts the test of time.
Sure.
Of course, they did the remake with him, which I wasn't the biggest fan of, but it wasn't terrible. But,
I saw a few pieces of it. I like Jackie Earle Haley.
Oh yeah, he's an amazing actor. As Rorschach, he's badass.
My problem with Freddy is I got really sick of his shtick of saying stupid, funny lines and stuff.
He has those goofy one-liners,
But at his essence, it's a cool concept as a guy that can get into your head while you're sleeping and just screw your day up.
You can't escape him. He's in your dreams, nightmares, I still love those movies. I have those box sets, those Freddy and the Jason box sets, and I still love them. And it's been a while, but I need to bust them out and watch the Freddys again. But
I've heard, I was watching a review on Nightmare 2, which I guess a lot of people don't like the second one, but it actually looked like it was interesting because it's got this underlying homosexual theme to it, which that's kind of interesting to me to kind of watch it in a different mindset. People didn't like it, but I've heard that it's still actually a decent movie.
It is good. It is good. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it still holds up. I like it a lot. I know when the original one came out, it scared the crap out of people.
The only ones I think I've seen of the Freddys are the first one and the Dream Warriors, which is the third one.
Yeah, a lot of people, that's their favorite or go-to one is that one.
I think I saw New Nightmare too.
New Nightmare was a good one.
Yeah.
And Freddy versus Jason, that was really a fun movie.
I like that one. It's fun.
It's just a fun movie. Yeah, if you don't, of course you don't take it seriously, which none of them you really should, but. Yeah, it's just a fun battle.
I just want to see two horror icons beat the tar out of each other. That's what it's there for.
And Robert Englund, who plays Freddy and who will always be Freddy as far as I'm concerned, there's nobody, that's all him. Yeah, it's some makeup, but that's all him.
Yeah,
that is all him, and he's awesome. So.
Freddy's Freddy. That's respectable.
Yeah, so he'll last for an eternity, and people's dreams or whatever, as you want to call it. But he'll number 2 is on my list.
Not bad.
So of course my number 1, and you will probably not be very shocked that he's my number 1 on my list rather, and that is Pinhead from Hellraiser. And that is because he is a pretty badass demon or whatever you want to call him, Cenobite.
Absolutely. The thing that fascinates me about Pinhead is just the fact that the Cenobites aren't necessarily the villains of the first movie,
Exactly. They're kind of like, hey, we're just here to, get who escaped us.
They're more like kind of like the justice of the movie.
Exactly, of the movie. He's just kind of like the head of it. So
yeah, and then like if I remember, I just watched it recently. The second movie,
Hellbound, yeah,
he's not like the main villain. He's sort of just kind of there, and then he and the rest of the Cenobites get torn apart.
Who's really the villain in the second one is that doctor.
Yeah. So that's interesting to me. It's not really until the third one, which I didn't really enjoy too much. It was okay. That was like the downhill point in the series for me. Was when he becomes kind of the main villain.
He does. He kind of becomes. They write him in as the main villain, and it's where he's in that statue and everything. Mm-hmm. He comes out. He's sealed in there, and he'll be iconic.
Sure.
Even if they keep going and they continue to have somebody else playing him.
Yeah.
When you see somebody dressed like that with the pins on their face, you know who it is.
Oh yeah.
So
it's iconic. It's it's scary because it's just so awkward and creepy looking. And
it was on the last podcast that I talked a little bit about it, how I didn't like the newer ones. I did like a lot of the sequels, but maybe the last 2 or 3 that they did, I didn't care for.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
They're on. I could be wrong, but I think this is 9. This is number 9 that's getting ready to come out. So, but yeah, and Clive Barker, he stated, because he got so annoyed for a while just because he was the Hellraiser guy. People don't only know him for that,
mm-hmm.
but it's like, hey, that's something be remembered by.
Sure.
Hell, that's something awesome to be remembered by.
Yeah.
Just that.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I mean, I respect Pinhead's a great villain. I mean, it's just talk about a guy you can't just like, you can't really, you can kind of reason with him maybe. Like that's one you might be able to reason with, but at the same time, all bets are off what he's going to do.
Yeah, exactly, because he comes for what he wants, which is you. So
I was actually just watching something where it was talking about like the icons of horror. I think it was like a Watch Mojo where it was like the top 10
yeah, I actually like that.
Or something.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we actually watched that the other night. Yeah.
And they talk about Pinhead and the Cenobites. Like he has some kind of line. He's like, "I'm gonna tear your soul apart." Yeah. Like when you hear a threat from somebody, and it's like I'm gonna stick my foot so far up your ass. That's that's another step when they're like, "I'm gonna tear your soul to pieces."
Yeah.
That's a little That's a little heavy because he's gonna do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's scary.
Yeah. Chances are you're not gonna win.
You see a guy in full leather with a bunch of like cuts and piercings on him with giant nails sticking out of his head. He's gonna do it.
Yeah, and essentially how he came up with that, I don't know if you know this or not, how Clive Barker came up with the designs for all of Cenobites was he took punk rockers, which was, punk was of course, huge in the 80s. The piercing and stuff was the punk, and mixed it with Catholic, like the dresses and stuff. So that's how he essentially came up with the Cenobites. So.
Wow, that actually kind of like opens my eyes. That's really cool.
So yeah, you actually take it that way, and you're like, okay, I see it now. So
yeah, well, if I remember correctly, like his first painting of kind of like what Pinhead became was just called Hell Priest, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I remember seeing that and just being like, that's interesting. Hell Priest.
Yeah. Okay. So and there's those early sketches out there too, where he sketched what what he wanted to look like and whatnot.
Yeah. That's awesome. Pinhead's a great one to end on.
Yeah. So absolutely.
So there's a question for you: who wins in a fight between Pinhead and the Joker?
Oh, that's tough.
I'm not really. I would love to just see those two interact.
Yeah, we'll leave that to everybody else's imagination because that would be just a different versus there.
Yeah, that's just a scary concept. Total insanity versus
That would be entertaining. Nothing but entertaining.
Yeah, I'm like, would they agree? Would they like work together or would
possibly? Yeah, there you go.
Or, would the Joker screw up by trying to, like, double-cross him and end up getting, skinned alive?
It's like, you're coming with me now.
But the Joker's so crazy, he'd be like, I don't have skin now. Well, now I'm just
more terrifying. Yeah. Let's go, That's not one of the craziest that, this is some of the stuff he's done. It's not a realm of possibilities.
He ripped his own face off. I was going to
say, exactly.
So that's not too far from
ripping faces off.
Realm of possibility.
It's like, here, wear my face, Pinhead. Yeah. Or whatever. All right, so we're done with top 5 villains.
As I
All right.
said, the top 5 villains are done. We're going to focus more on the heroes. I don't know about your choices, but before I want to preface mine by just saying that when I think of a hero, I'm picking characters that, when put against an obstacle like a threat, they make the right decisions.
Absolutely.
They put themselves in front of others' harm. That's what a hero has always been to me. Is like they do the right thing in most every situation and
Right.
do their best to save others. That's what a hero has always been to me, and
Right.
that's what my choices are kind of based around.
Yeah, a hero is somebody who always, well, no, I'm not going to say always does the right things. Tries always to do the right things, even when nobody is looking.
Sure.
And sacrifices themselves. And I throw the word inspiration out there. Tries
Sure.
to inspire people. So yeah, that's what a hero
Yeah,
is.
that's why you're not gonna see on my list like Ash Williams from the Evil Dead series because the guy's in it for himself and it's dumb
He
luck.
is a hero,
He's
but
a
it's
hero,
dumb luck.
but
You're
he's
right.
not like at the top of my list.
Yeah, he's still a hero, but yeah,
Sure.
absolutely. So you won't see him, I guess, on
my
our
list.
top 5 list. Yeah,
Sure.
because he's not on mine as well.
Okay.
So you're not gonna see him. He might be on your list, and
Right,
you're badass if he is on
Yeah,
your list.
he's an icon. He's awesome.
He
but,
is, and you gotta love Bruce Campbell because he's awesome.
Absolutely.
But so
Okay, well, I started the villains list, so you can start the heroes list.
Okay, so yeah, so top 5 heroes. My number 5, and this isn't comics. It isn't video games. It isn't cartoons. Any of that stuff. But he's a real life person, and it is Jamie Josta, for which is Hatebreed. And the reason he's my top 5 hero is just for what he does in the music and everything, being frontman for Hatebreed. And if you're familiar with the hardcore metal band, he takes positive lyrics and mixes it with brutality, and also does a podcast and stuff, and where he kind of has other musicians and stuff on there. He tries to always spread the word as far as music and everything. He's always trying to educate people and always wants to be that spokesperson for music and all that, and anything heavy. So
Right on.
So for number 5, he is one of my heroes. Absolutely,
It's funny, we weren't I didn't realize that we could put in real people and stuff. That's really cool.
Yeah,
I
well,
didn't put it in my list. Mine might be different from that. I went more iconic fictional characters, but it's perfectly cool.
I just thought
I know that he's very close to your heart. You have pictures with the guy. It's very cool. I didn't know that.
Many times.
I'm not very familiar with Hatebreed, so that's pretty cool coming from my point of view.
Yeah. If you ever get a chance to listen to them, they're on Spotify and all that.
I've heard a little bit, but
the music is really brutal. They got the breakdowns, the hardcore breakdowns, and all that. But if you listen to the lyrics, it's 99.9% of it's positive. He writes some other stuff as well, which is awesome. Because you don't always want to write the same thing over and over, but yeah, it's it's positive stuff, and it's always great to listen to and stuff. And
that's really cool.
He's a big role model for me.
Mad props. Yeah, totally. Yeah, I'm gonna go check that out tonight when I go home. Yeah, absolutely.
Throw some Hatebreed on.
Throw some Hatebreed
and go to sleep now.
Go to sleep. Might be better than last night. My cat kept me almost.
There you go. Yeah, it might be a little better.
All right, well, my number 5. This actually, I was kind of proud of this choice just because I actually have some background, to kind of explain this a little bit. My number 5 is actually Leonardo of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Nice, good choice.
Don't get me wrong, I love all 4 of them for different reasons, but of the 4, I think that Leonardo is very much the stoic leader of the group. What I love about the Ninja Turtles, there's so many different incarnations of them, but everybody knows what all 4 of them are about. And the thing that I've always loved about the character, especially through the comics, some of the movies and stuff, is just that he seems like he genuinely cares about the rest of his brothers. And at the same time, though, he's very much the calming center of the group. He's the one that's always into meditation and idolizes the samurai.
He is always that rock.
He carries the katana, the samurai weapon.
Yeah, absolutely.
But he's a cool character. I love, especially the new comic series from IDW, I think. They did some really cool things with that. Like they had where he was brainwashed by the Shredder, and he thought that, he was being manipulated by his brothers, and he became like the Shredder's right hand, and it was scary. And then when he realized that he was being manipulated, he went back to being the Leonardo we know and love. But it was really cool and kind of showed, how cool of a character. He's not just a one-dimensional thing.
He's definitely honorable.
Yeah.
He's got the katanas.
Again, he's iconic.
He is. There's a reason why he's the leader of the group.
Absolutely.
He's got it all.
Well, and it would be so easy. A lot of people are like, well, Leonardo, he's the toast of the team. But if you go and talk to like big fans of the Ninja Turtles, like 9 times out of 10, they're like, well, Leonardo is like my favorite. And it's funny because Raphael's the tough one, the one with the attitude that everybody like kind of leans towards. But at the same time, Leonardo is always like number 2 on lists. Michelangelo, everybody loves because
he's the free, pizza.
And Donnie's the nerd, but
right,
they all work together. But I just personally, like, I've always loved Leonardo, and I just love that about him, that he's kind of like, personally in my group of friends, like I always end up being kind of like the leader because I'm always like, well, guys, we kind of got to get together and figure this out.
Right.
So I always kind of like lean towards that, in like 2nd grade when we were playing on the playground, I was always Leonardo. So
hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell
so
yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, he's definitely for all those reasons.
Mm-hmm.
He is an awesome character.
Yeah, I love him. He's great.
Yeah, like I said, honor.
Mm-hmm.
He's the rock of it.
Yeah, the whole cartoon. He always, when he went into battle, he'd be like, "Turtles fight with honor."
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah, he always did say that. You're right. He always did say that. That's awesome.
Yep.
But yeah, absolutely. So yeah, great number 5. That's awesome.
Right on.
All right, my number 4 in top 5 heroes is Wolverine.
Wolverine.
Very iconic. Again, we go with the iconic. Everybody knows the costume.
Yeah.
And all that. Even if he doesn't have the costume on now because of the movies,
yeah,
they know the hair.
Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
Mutton chops and, bad attitude, the claws.
The claws ripped.
The stogie sticking out of the mouth.
Yeah, the stogie.
Yeah.
He's a hero for so many different ways, or reasons rather. But he does have the honor code.
Yeah, he's conflicted though because
he's always conflicted.
He was built to be like a killing machine.
Yeah.
He was Weapon X.
Yeah.
But he's tried, to try to like quell the beast inside, and he like went and studied under like samurai and the ninja.
Absolutely.
So yeah, he's cool. I mean, yeah, he's definitely a hero. A tempered beast.
A temper beast, and he keeps going no matter
Oh,
what.
yeah.
He whether he wants to or not, he keeps going. He keeps fighting.
Yeah, well, it doesn't hurt that he has a fast healing factor.
Yeah.
That he can pretty much survive a nuclear explosion.
Mm-hmm.
But he used to be like my end all be all character. I just unfortunately, as he got a little older, it was just the concept is like nothing could kill this guy. I don't know if I can really like get behind him as my favorite anymore. It's same old.
Right. And they do different things.
Yeah.
In the comics,
sure.
But they did kill him off.
Yeah,
again,
he's dead right now, technically. There's an old version of him that's come from an alternate universe, and his adopted daughter X-23 is actually Wolverine right now, which.
Right.
I'm not a big Marvel fan, but I did actually pick up the first trade of the all-new Wolverine with Laura. It is amazingly good.
Yeah? Oh, good.
But, Wolverine, iconic.
Iconic, like I said, a hero for all those reasons. And I can't wait to see the new Logan.
Sure, that looks really good.
Yeah, I can't wait for that.
Which, again, X-23 is in it, so it's going to be sweet.
Yeah.
It's funny that you actually, you mentioned both the Predator and Freddy Krueger on your villains list. So as a kid, they kind of, like, the Predator obviously creeped me out, but Freddy Krueger did as well. And then when I got into Wolverine as a kid, I was like, well, that guy's got claws. He could take on Freddy Krueger and the Predator, and he'd probably win against both of them. So that's a hero. Mm-hmm. That's definitely a hero.
And they actually have those videos up on YouTube where they have him fighting the Predator. Yeah, which is like spot on. They did a really
pretty much
good job.
ended how I expected. If if Arnold Schwarzenegger covered in mud with some sticks can take out a Predator, I'm pretty sure a guy with adamantium claws can do it too.
Wolverine, took him out. So not to spoil it, but go on YouTube and check it out. Actually,
come on, really? You expected a guy that can survive a nuclear blast not to be able to take out a Predator? monitor.
Even if he blows himself up.
Even if he blows himself up, he's going to get up 3 hours later and be like, I need a new pair of pants.
Oh, damn it, man. Why? But
that's a good one, though. I like that.
So back to you. Yeah.
Okay. My number 4, again, kind of like outside the box, but a guy that I like always respected the character was Corporal Dwayne Hicks from Aliens. Just, if you go and watch Aliens, you got these badass colonial marines. Mm-hmm. There's so, I don't think, like, the platoon is what, like 12 dudes all go, well, dudes and ladies go into, like, they're going into this situation, and they all get wiped out in, like, one fell swoop, except for, I believe it was 4 of them, and then one more gets wiped out before they get back to the tank. And, they basically determine that, like, Hicks is, technically, he's head of the command, and
he's the leader now. It's like, hey, you inherited, you're next in line.
And, he does what he can in a dire situation. He does his best. He's not, he's not the hero of the movie, but I respect it just because he's doing what he can, and he, keeps keeps his head through it, and it's just cool while he's doing it.
He definitely does a good I guess if you could say supporting role.
Absolutely.
He definitely was badass.
Yeah,
in it.
He's so cool in the movie too.
Yeah, and of course our it's both out of all of them, it's our favorite is Aliens.
Aliens is so good.
Yeah, and I don't know about you, which I would assume that it's for you, but it's one of my all-time favorite movies.
Oh yeah, time. It's in the top 10.
I was gonna say it's top. Yeah, it's top.
Yeah,
10,
when we do that list, it'll be on there.
Yeah, but he's so good.
And
in it.
yeah, it'd be easy to say Ripley in that, but Ripley never. Ripley in that movie, it's about motherhood and like saving Newt is all about that. And I'm a dude. I don't have kids, and I'm not ever gonna be a mother unless I have a sex change and. That's beside the point.
That's for another top 10
list. That's for another top 10 list. But, Hicks, I could always respect because, I've been there where I'm like, okay, well, I'm not head of the show. This is somebody else's show, but I'm going to do my best to, support you and do what I can in this situation. Because
fell in my lap. I got to, let's do this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, absolutely. Great character.
Yeah. And, when we were thinking about what we were going to rename the podcast, the first thing that popped in my head was a Hicks line, which was "Stay Frosty," the Stay Frosty podcast.
That's a great famous
it's
line.
A great line, but it makes it sound like maybe we're talking about ice cream. So
right, absolutely.
So yeah, Hicks,
which does sound really good, though.
Yeah, it does. So that's Hicks at number 4.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. Okay, so going to my number 3, top 5 heroes. I'm kind of venturing off again. We're kind of going to the real world, kind of like Last Action Hero, where we go,
I don't have a golden ticket on me though.
Well, I got one, but I still got my soundtrack that has the ticket. Guess I still own the CD, which is awesome.
The CD's great.
Oh, it is. The soundtrack was badass. You had so many great bands on that.
Yeah.
But that going off a tangent. But okay, so my number 3 is Henry Rollins, and that's. We both, admire the crap out of him, and always will.
Dude, it's so cool.
Because in our eyes, he can do no wrong.
Yeah.
Even when he did the weird thing for, what was it, Calvin Klein or something, where he did the weird clothing line or something like that. I'm gonna have to look and see exactly what he did.
I thought you were gonna talk about when he was on the Small Soldiers soundtrack.
Oh, dude, he could do no wrong.
He was still cool.
Oh yeah, do badass.
Def Jam Vendetta. He was awesome.
Oh, dude, yeah. If you could be in a video game, who would you want to be? And that's Henry Rollins in a video game. Yeah.
He's a really intelligent guy, and you could just look at him and be like, okay, he's just like a hardcore punk, metal dude, but. The guy's got a lot going on upstairs.
He always wanted more for himself. He was a guy, and like I said, inspiring every day. He was a guy that came from nothing, and he got lucky and he got to be in one of his favorite bands and went from there and had his own band.
Yeah.
Started a publishing company and started, a record company, and he did music and stuff, and he just kind of got done with that. Now he does his talking shows. He still does books. He does movies and voiceovers.
Yeah,
and
he's getting paid to basically just speak his mind.
Just
That's
be him.
Really cool.
Yeah, you're getting paid to be Henry Rollins.
He's never had to not be who he is.
Yeah.
To put bread on the table.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Even as can't think of his name, but in Batman Beyond when he plays the villain.
Oh, Mad Stan.
When he plays Mad Stan, it is so him.
Oh yeah.
He's got a tattoo like on the back of his, neck. Like he needs obviously more tattoos, but
very,
it's him.
Yeah, it's very like simplistic art style, but you can even if
Rollins.
you didn't hear the voice, you'd be like, "Is that supposed to be Henry Rollins?"
Yeah,
then you hear the voice,
chin
like,
and everything. Yeah,
that's Henry
it's like
Rollins.
it looks. Yeah, that is Henry Rollins.
It's like Henry Rollins if he got jacked up on like caffeine and decided he was going to take out Gotham City
right
with some explosives.
Absolutely,
that'd be Mad Stan.
So good. Did they ever make a figure of Mad Stan?
I don't think so.
Oh my god! I need like a custom Mad Stan Rollins figure.
They have. They restarted Batman Beyond the comic book again.
Right.
And that no signs of Mad Stan yet, but you never know.
He'll show up.
His character was great because he'd always just kind of show up in the background
out of nowhere.
It'd be like the opening line. Opening scene is Terry McGinnis in the Batsuit chasing down Mad Stan.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sure he'll make an appearance at some point, hopefully.
But yeah, Rollins, if you don't know who this guy is, check him out. He's been in, I'm sure, any movie that you've seen or even shows, because he was in Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah, Sons of Anarchy. Playing against type, a white supremacist,
Well, it's like, the way he looks like a military guy, especially when he was like a little bigger, when he's more ripped and stuff, and he more like the crew cut, but...
Yeah, it was funny because on Sons of Anarchy, I hated him. But it was like, it's Henry Rollins.
It's Henry Rollins, yeah.
How can I hate this guy? He's playing it so well.
It's
because I hate him.
Right.
But
yeah, so as far as my top three, it's Rollins. And definitely go check him out. He's awesome and inspirational.
Again, a thing I'm kind of jealous of. You've met him once, right?
Twice. And I was real standoffish because I've heard stories. I was like, oh my god, what's it going to be like? And he was actually very nice.
That's
very
awesome.
Nice. So very cool. I was very lucky. So.
Yeah, I'm jealous on that because I'd probably just see him and pee myself because he is very intimidating.
I was shaking because I gave some stuff to have him sign and and I was just like beside myself. So but absolutely.
That's awesome though. That just stands him out as a hero though because he was cool with you.
He wasn't one of those people I've met and it's like, oh, he was a dick to me because I've had that happen. So
yeah, you know what? We're gonna have to just do like a list. I just want you to do a list by yourself of because I've never met anybody famous, so I can't do it. But I want a list of the top 5 coolest people that you've ever met, and the top 5 shittiest people you've met.
Oh, we can do that actually. I can do that.
That would be interesting. I'd be fascinated by that.
I can do that.
Okay.
So going back to you.
Okay. No, you're fine. We're on number 3 because I haven't talked about this yet.
Yeah.
My number 3 is going back to the realm I know very well, comic books. Captain America, man.
Oh yeah, you can't go wrong with Captain America.
Captain America is the man. Not only, is he known for punching Nazis in their stupid racist face.
Red Skull.
Yeah,
Ugh.
but, he's a good dude. I thought the first Captain America movie really, gets his character to a T,
It was good. It was good.
The scene in it, there's a scene in it where he's, before he gets the super soldier serum, where he's just this scrawny dude that's in the military platoon going through basic training. And they're, I think it's Tommy Lee Jones is talking to the scientist, and he's just like, well, why do we have him in here? He's too little,
He's like a scrawny kid.
He's scrawny. He's never going to work it. Why is he even in this? And the scientist pulls the pin on, a grenade and throws it. And the other, all these big muscular dudes, see the grenade and run in different directions. And he just jumps, dives on the grenade, and he's like, run, save yourselves. It's like, That's a hero.
Why.
That's the dude right there.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out it's a dud, and he was just proving a point.
Yeah, he's just proving, just throwing it out there.
Yeah, and I mean, of course, then he gets all jacked up on super soldier serum, and still is a good dude at the end of the day.
He has the principles installed in him first before he gets the serum.
Absolutely.
He is the icon. I mean, if you just look at him, he is, American,
Right. And what I love is that they could have very easily, in the comics, just made him, anytime something political happened, he just goes along with what the president says. But, numerous times through the years, something happens politically or somebody in a higher ranking in the government tells him he's got to do something. He questions it. He's taken the man, he's thrown the mantle away because
Right.
he's like, I don't agree with this. I'm not
Right.
I'm not going to work for you if you're going to do this thing in the name of the country I love. And
Right. And
that's just cool.
He's a hero for that, So yeah, so many things. Such a great character.
Iconic. He's like, if you go to the DC universe, the only person I can think of that's even close to like Captain America status is Batman.
Right.
But, the only reason that Batman might be a little better is just because he doesn't have the super soldier serum and he's just doing
He's
it
just
on
more
his own.
of a guy.
But Cap still, he's all American. He's bread and butter. He's everything you want that kind of person to be.
Right. Absolutely.
And again, risk his life for anybody. That's a hero. And
the Shield's always badass.
It's so cool.
The Shield is always badass, yeah. So.
I mean, I'm not a big Marvel fan anymore, but I still admit I have my replica Shield in my house, and I have cracked it over my friend's head a few times to see if it would work. It's not made of vibranium, unfortunately, but it would hurt.
Yeah.
He said it kind of hurt.
It's like, ow, why'd you do that?
He's like, you just dented your shield for that. It was like, it's okay, I can, ow, my hand, but I got it.
Dent it back, yeah.
Dent it back. But yeah, Captain America.
Awesome. Yeah, great choice, absolutely. Okay, my number 2 and top 5 heroes is Ryu from Street Fighter. And the reason he is number 2, he is very much almost a number 1 to me. And when I get to my number 1 and explain it more, you'll know why. But yeah, number 2, when growing up, he is like, before I even knew what the video game that he was in, that Street Fighter, before I knew what that was, I saw him, and I was like, very iconic. Well, you got a guy with a headband on with a karate outfit or whatever. So it's like, okay, well that's easy to to replicate or whatever. But
sure.
It's just the way he comes back in the story, I guess. He's like which is kind of a cool idea, sort of. And it's like a homeless guy that travels and fights. And he looks for reasons. It's like, well, why do I keep going? Why do I keep doing this? What is there more to life than this? He was an orphan that was dropped off of this Japanese guy's dojo.
Okay.
And he taught him and everything, and he installed all these things in him, honor and all that. So after he taught him, he kind of, he was kind of thrown out into the world and stuff. So he just kept, and it's always a journey for him. He's always learning, and it's always something.
So basically, that's I didn't know this much about Ryu. That's really cool. I mean, it kind of gives a backstory to why he's kind of the iconic main character of the Street Fighter. Guy.
Well, and the fact that he started in the very first game, it was just him he could be. But
that's a great backstory. I didn't know that he was like kind of a nomad.
He was. It's just him and his bag. So you just see him and his bag like walking somewhere. He never takes a car.
So
no transportation.
Out of curiosity, so what's Ken's story? He's just like some rich beach bum that like worked with, like studied with him, or what?
Okay, so the same dojo, Ken shows up.
Okay.
It's different in the storylines, but he shows up, sort of comes from a very rich family, but is also taught the same stuff. But,
okay.
But is taught the same thing, and they become best friends, almost brother-like. So
okay, I got you.
And
I had a feeling it had something to do, like if Ryu's going to be like this kind of like poor nomadic character, that Ken's going to be like this
total opposite.
Total opposite.
Now Ken is kind of like the same way. He's always still looking for the meaning and stuff. He's just in different. I don't know. It is a little different, but yeah, their paths still cross paths.
Sure.
Yeah. And he always does refer to it as a path. I'm always looking for the path, or So yeah, that's why he's my number 2. To totally geek out.
Man, now I want to go watch the animated movie again. I haven't seen that
I watched
in years.
that about a week ago, actually, and it's like, that is still so good.
It's a really good movie, yeah.
I'm waiting, and I could be wrong. I don't think there's a proper Blu-ray out for it yet, and I'm waiting for that. Yeah, but it's solid.
That was the movie that introduced me to KMFDM with
Ultra
in the fight scene with
Vega.
Chun-Li and Vega.
Yeah,
it's so good.
So good, yeah.
Yeah.
I getting a little bit off track here, but I did that. I was in high school, and I had a music class I took, and we had to take a movie scene with music in it and see how it paired up, and I took that and I took it in.
Oh, nice.
So I took it into the music class, and I get all these dirty looks. It's like, because it's an anime girl, it's in her like her bra and stuff getting cut up with
yeah, she's like in her dress, or she's in a towel.
Yeah, he's cutting her up, with his claw and stuff. So yeah, I got all kinds of weird looks and stuff for that because I did an anime. This girl that was half naked getting cut up. So.
Yeah, but she ends up beating
KMFDM, which is awesome.
KMFDM, but she ends up beating the snot out of him with a spinning star kick.
Such a great action scene though with great music.
Yeah, it was so good.
All right, so getting off. Yeah, so let's jump to your
great memory there. My number 2 actually is a movie from my childhood that, it's important to me with heroes. Is like there's certain scenes in movies when I see them, like I get goosebumps, or I get like a warm and fuzzy feeling, and it just that's what it's about. My number 2 is Indiana Jones.
Oh.
In particular, though, in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
I knew you were going to say in the Temple of Doom.
But
that is awesome.
A lot of people give that movie flack, but he does so many cool hero things that aren't necessarily in Raiders or Last Crusade, because he's fighting an evil cult that uses children in their minds.
Right.
And I mean, he's slugging slave traders, and there's a scene in it after he's been brainwashed, and Short Round, his little assistant, ends up burning him, and he kind of wakes up a little bit. You get this tearful. He's like, "Indy, I love you," and he burns him, and he's getting the guys are grabbing the kid and getting ready to throw him in the lava pit. Yeah. And he grabs him he's gonna be the one to end him. And he holds him over the pit, and he's like, "It's okay, kid," and winks at him, and they go beat the snot out of guys. But there's right after that is the most iconic badass Indy moment, because he gets his hat back and he hugs him, and he's like, I'm sorry.
That's a good scene, yeah.
It's really adorable, and I get teary-eyed when I watch it. And then, I think it's, and then Willie's like, "Let's get out of here," and he turns around, and he's like, "Yeah, all of us." And you're like, "Oh, crap, he's going to go get all those kids out, isn't he?" And that's what he does, and, beats the snot out of some more guys, and just, it's what a hero does. You see kids being slaved and, used for labor. No, you don't do that.
Right. He is awesome for all different, different sorts of stuff. He's an icon,
Sure.
You got, you put that hat on, and then you have that whip.
Sure.
It's like, well, who are you? I'm Indiana Jones.
Yeah, and I mean, and he's, all those movies are great. Even Crystal Skull has moments that are cool.
I did like that one.
Sure.
A lot of people don't share that, but I did.
There's moments I like. There's moments I don't, but there's moments I like.
Yeah.
And
it had its cool moments.
This day and age, we need more people punching Nazis in the face.
Absolutely,
and,
absolutely.
Harrison Ford showed us how to do it best.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Harrison Ford is the man. My favorite line, and there's so many good ones from it, is where they're running on the bridge, and he goes to drop the stones over it, and the bad guy is like, well, Indiana Jones goes. He says something like, "I'm gonna drop him" or whatever. Yeah, and then
Let her go.
And the bad guy's like, "Go ahead, Dr. Jones. They will be found. You won't."
That's an iconic line.
I always crack up at that.
Again, he outdoes Molaram in that, because then there's the scene right after he decides he's gonna cut it.
Yeah, he cuts it, and there they go.
It's he's going nuts. He's crazy. But then Indy just looks at him. He's like, "Prepare to meet Kali
in hell."
That's pretty metal right there.
Yeah, that is very metal. That's awesome.
And granted, that's pretty metal considering the guy he's saying it to ripped somebody's still beating heart out of his chest, which is pretty metal. But he just out metaled him.
Yeah, so classic. Oh, is that in your top 10 list? Because I think it
should be.
It might be in mine. Yeah, because it's such a good movie.
Yeah,
such a good movie.
I mean, nothing screams heroism more than hearing a thundercrack punch from Indiana Jones on a Nazi face or a thuggy face.
Oh yeah. So
badass.
So good. Harrison Ford. Yeah, I couldn't picture anybody else really doing it.
No.
So yeah, absolutely. That's awesome.
So That's my number 2.
All right, so my number one, and I have a feeling that we're going to share the number one.
Oh, I have a feeling.
So I guess I'll make it our number one, if I am correct. And my number one, and possibly Sean's, number one hero out of our top 5 is Batman.
Well, considering I'm wearing his symbol right now on my shirt, my phone case is the symbol as well.
Batman. And,
there might be something there.
We're both huge Batman fans, and I do have Batman, stuff up in the cave.
Absolutely.
I got my Cthulhu Batman, I got my Jim Lee Batman that you gave to me, which is awesome, and God, what can we say about Batman? Just like how he's the perfect hero,
He's a guy that has gone through great tragedy and has to deal with the same tragedy over and over, but rather than become a victim to it and let it, just kind of like ruin his entire life, he decided he was gonna, he had a bad night, so he was gonna make sure that he could go out and make sure other people didn't have to go through the things he did.
Sacrifices himself.
Yeah, he goes and trains for like 9 years, both his mind and his body, so that he can be, as powerful as he can be without being a superhero.
Right.
And I mean, he takes on gods daily.
Right. And he's just a man. He's a man.
Yeah.
No, granted, he's a man with a lot of money.
Sure.
Absolutely. So he has, he has stuff at his disposal, but he's just a guy.
Right, and
he's just a guy, but he is, it never ends for him.
Sure, and all the toys in the world isn't going to do anything if you don't have the drive to do the right thing and keep going.
It starts with you, and that's him.
Oh yeah, and I mean, in artist renditions and sometimes in the movies, that they show him as he's taking the outfit off, and like his whole back is just covered in scars and wounds and injuries he's taken. He's broken his body to become what he is, and
exactly. He's just one big bruise, broken body. Yeah, absolutely.
But at the same time, though, he's like an unrelenting force. He's always gonna be there.
Yeah.
He doesn't stop.
And the character is going to last the test of time, because look at when Batman was created all those years ago, and look at it now, and it'll just keep going. You know. He's more popular than ever,
Well, and it's something we can try to become a little more. Is I don't necessarily have $1 million or $1 billion,
right.
But at the same time, you can try to do the right thing. You can, better yourself as good as you can, and be intelligent and try to help others, and do the right thing. Right. Not necessarily dress up in all leather and go punch out thugs, but
people have tried that. People have tried that, and it's not such a good idea. Even though it just sounds like a really cool idea, But
and I mean, there are so many little things about the character that I always go back to and makes me feel better. Anytime that we've had like a school shooting or like a shooting go on in the masses, I always go back to a moment in Dark Knight Returns. It's a splash page, a panel that Frank Miller wrote and drew, where it's just Batman holding a shotgun, and he just says, "This is the weapon of the enemy. We will not use it," and he just breaks it.
Right, absolutely, absolutely.
In my eyes, granted, there's different incarnations of Batman, but in my eyes,
God, so many.
Yeah, Batman doesn't kill, and he doesn't resort to that level.
Yeah, he's wanted to.
Sure,
he's wanted to, but
that's why he's human.
And there's a little bit of him in all of us for whatever reason. Whether you just like him because he's kind of cool, or just because, hey, he's Batman or whatever. Yeah. There's a little bit of him in, all of us.
Yeah, and I mean, again, he's a guy that has to take on, he's in the Justice League.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's fought Superman to a standstill.
Mm-hmm.
He fights Superman-level villains all the time, and, he hasn't died from it yet.
One of my best memories from childhood was going to the theater and seeing the '89 Batman with my parents in the drive-in. In the drive-in. One of my first, and I still love. I'm glad I still have that memory.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I almost got sun poisoning that summer because I made a makeshift Batman outfit out of a ski mask and a raincoat. And I would run out in the middle of the summer, sunny day, and Almost. Like, almost pass out. Totally worth it.
I'm Batman. I'm not feeling so well.
Hey, I was 8, okay?
I can't, say I came out in my underwear as a kid, and my dad cut it was like out of plywood. He cut the sword from He-Man out.
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
I would run out my underwear. I have the power, so I can't say anything.
Yeah.
So
Oh, that's all good. But that's the essence of a hero right there. Is like you want to be that level, or at least some aspect of it.
Yeah.
Even so far, like I will completely attest to this. I just got done about a month ago playing the Telltale Batman game, which I highly recommend. But there's a moment in the game, and I'm not really giving anything away here, but there's a moment where he comes across a crime scene where a child has just been orphaned. Like, his parents are dead in the other room, and you can counter him, and you can obviously say, you get choices of what you can say as Batman to him.
Right.
And it just, like, I played it as much to the character as I could. And the writing was just so crisp, because he realizes, like, it made me tear up, because he realizes he's looking at himself at that moment.
Right.
Like, he's talking to his own 8-year-old self, like, right as he's seen his parents murdered in front of him, and like how he reacts is so, you want to be that cool. Like, he just, he's like, don't let this. Yeah, I think he says something to the effect of, "Don't let this be the rest of your life. This isn't the end. You can move from this. It's terrible, but you can move on."
That's awesome.
I cried so hard when I saw that, and I'm not ashamed of it, because it was so well written and so cool.
That's awesome. Yeah.
He's everything when you need it,
Yeah.
I'm not a religious person, but, when I'm having a bad day, I go read Dark Knight Returns, or, any of the really good Batman stories I have, and just try to, like, move through it, because that's what he is for me.
Well, and you could say also, it's like, well, if you're having a bad time, or things look really bad, you could look at it this way. It's like, it's like, well, what would Batman do, or whatever like that? And that sounds really goofy.
WWBD.
But because it's like, well, he's just a fictional character. That's kind of stupid. But it's like, but look how many people worship him. Around the world. That's not retarded.
Yeah,
even if he is a fictional character, something to. Yeah, somebody to really believe in.
How many times through the years have we had folk tales or myths? Or, just stories that we hear, and it's like, well, they strived to these levels and did these things. You need to be more like this person.
Right.
Why can't you be more like Batman? Yeah. Right. There's no problem with that.
Absolutely. That's, yeah.
And he's iconic because, you can't be born, you can't will yourself to be born on another planet and, land on Earth and become Superman. You can't you can't choose to be born in Amazon and become Wonder Woman, or be in a terrible science experiment and become the Flash, or not science experiment, but an explosion with chemicals and become the Flash. But you can become Batman. Granted, you don't want to go and have your parents killed, but you can
situation. You can't control the situation, but you can control where you move from it, kind of. And I've learned that even as being an adult and getting older as an adult, I've learned that more. It's it really is about you and dealing with, okay, you did get maybe dealt a crapshoot, or maybe this did happen, but it is how kind of you go with it.
Yeah.
So, and there's gonna be bad things. You just got to keep going.
Yeah.
Which is like him as well.
You don't give up.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a really cool, I can't remember what it's from, but it's like, everybody asks me what my superpower is. Batman speaking, he's like, everybody asks me what my superpower is. My superpower is I don't give up.
Right,
and it's true. He gets back up and he deals with it.
Right, absolutely. Do not be broken.
Yeah.
Do not be broken.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely. So a great number one.
In a world full of villains and madmen and killers, be a Batman.
Yeah, exactly. So you can see it's a number one. So yeah, absolutely.
That's our list. I think that is genuinely a little shorter than the last one. I think we're going on, what, like an hour and some change?
Yeah, we got a little over an hour
That's
now.
great. I think this was a much better. I think we should do 5 and 5s, or, just one top 10 list and go
one
from
top
there.
10 or 2 5s. You're right. It worked out perfectly. One episode. Can't wait to put this, up.
Absolutely.
After go back, listen to it, and edit it. Of course, a little bit.
I want to give a shout out to everybody that did listen, and I appreciate you taking the time out for the first one. I hope you listen to the second one, and
yeah, it's going to be hopefully a little easier listen, and I agree. Thank you so much for listening.
We appreciate it.
Wow, the first one episode. Wow, it's got it went past my expectations so far. It's only been a week, for us putting it up. So
also, we'd also we love the likes on the post and everything, and we appreciate everything. But if you want to leave some comments, like maybe something you want us to focus on, something you'd like to, us change a little bit, or, even if you just didn't agree with anything we said, please feel free to leave a comment. We love hearing from you guys.
Yeah, of course, go and view it again, like it, hit the thumb or whatever, and post comment. Let us know what you thought. If maybe something need to improve,
Sure.
Or even your top 5, hero and villain. Or
whatever. That would be so cool.
Let us know yours, whether yours number 1 is Batman or or whatever. But that would be badass.
It's awesome. Yeah, please comment, like us, get in touch with us.
Yeah. So I'll post a thing for your Twitter again at the end of course of the episode here, and as mine as well.
Yeah, I'll have to adjust mine a little bit. I think it was off. I have to look at it.
Okay. So we'll make corrections on that, and
sure.
And I since then had adventured back to Twitter and tried it, so I'll probably throw that back up there. So
Twitter's a fun place if you follow the right people.
Well, yeah, I'm trying again. So it's like starting all over again once the new social media. So follow us on our mediums. We always got something on. We're always tweeting and Facebooking or whatever. And I'm always throwing artwork up, and so.
I'm trying to think of like a good outro line for this, so we'll work on that. But until then, this is Sean signing off,
and this is Richie saying, "Stay metal and inspire people. Keep going, inspire and stay metal.
Be more like Batman.
Yeah, and stay frosty.
Stay frosty. That's it. Stay frosty. Peace.
All right. See you next episode. Bye."